Hi, I'm Thomas Barrett, and I have no idea what I'm doing. If you're watching this video, that means that you are a fan of my top 10, and shit is about to hit the fan. Because from now on, I'll be doing my top 10s in video format, because that's just something that I've always wanted to try. And, you know, whenever that number one album comes out, they'll be like, whoa, he really did that? So maybe it will happen with this one. Who knows? Stay tuned. But this top 10, this specific top 10, is very special for me because I looked at my earlier reviews and I realized, you know, there's not many female artists in there, not enough women. So this particular month, I donated my time to nothing but female artists or bands or front women, anything that has to do with that. And it opened my eyes to a lot of new sounds. It didn't make me think any differently about the female agenda whenever it comes to music, just because I just never thought of it as a man's world versus a woman's world. But it really is different, just because some of these artists, some of these females had to go through a lot of shit just to go, or just to be what they ultimately become, and some of them are still going through that, and it takes a lot of strength to do that, and it takes a lot of courage to make it in a quote-unquote man's world. So all these artists really don't give a fuck about that, and it just proves that as long as you're good at what you do, it doesn't matter who you are. So without further ado, here is my top 10 albums of March. This album, the first time that I heard it all the way through, I just knew that it had to be number 10 because it just has so much energy. I just thought that it'd be the perfect way to kick off this list. And what does this song kick off with? Follow Me Down to the River, or simply just Follow Me Down. It's just a really great way to start off the record because it implements everything that you're gonna hear on the album. It introduces the rock and roll sound, which I admire very much. It feels very classic in a way, but also with a modern twist of that metal guitar tone that's just so heavy. Then they add the acoustics. The acoustics was something that I didn't expect to hear in this album. It really took me by surprise in the best of ways. You have some melodics in there. Heaven Knows comes to mind. It's just very catchy. I'm pretty sure that's the leading single to the album. I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I'd be more surprised if it wasn't. But this album, you can't predict it though, because Dear Sister is a hidden gem. It feels like a lullaby. I'd be hard pressed to say that it isn't, because it's just so beautiful, so warm and inviting. Why'd You Bring a Shotgun to the Party is the exact opposite of that song, because it has some explicits, it has gun firing, which is always a treat to the ear. The closer, the closer you won't see coming from a mile, you just won't. So once you get into that 10, 11 track territory, you just mentally prepare yourself. This album is surprising, it doesn't hold back, and it's just really, it's everything that I wanted out of this album, and I'm really glad that I listened to it. I recommend it to anybody, common listeners or advanced listeners. It's a treat to the ears, so there it is. The fucking Runaways. I mean, what can I really say about them that hasn't been said before? I'll try my best to be original here, but I went into this album expecting to hear exactly what I got, and that was just bare bones, true, classic, original rock and roll. And there's a song called Rock and Roll on there. It starts up with the cowbell. Can't go wrong with the cowbell. You just can't. Cherry Bomb. Perfect way to start off the record. Definitely one of the more recognizable songs. Line of the fucking album, maybe the fucking century, is "Have you grab until you're sore." Just sends off that message. Hey, we're gonna come here and we're gonna tear shit up. We're gonna kick you in the balls or whatever you have down there. We're gonna spit in your face, take your lunch money. We won't care. Blackmail is a personal favorite of mine. I got to play that, and just I learned that guitar playing is not just all about how many notes you can play in 1 second. It's just all about that energy. Sometimes there's just nothing more fun than just getting a G or just a simple C and just banging the hell out of it, because it's just so fun. You just move around, interact with the crowd, and that's exactly what they did. They just had so much fun, and that's what this album is so much fun. And it just really is a great way to introduce the entire world just who these group of girls are, and they'll fuck you up. Dead and Justice, I thought was a weird way to close out the album, but it wasn't a bad song. It's just kind of a story. It turns into a story at some point, so you're really gonna have to listen to it. But this album was fun. It was very rocky, I guess you could say. Anybody who's a true fan of original rock and roll or classic or anything like that, I advise this album to you. And just a great record. Take a listen. Speechless really is what I was whenever I finished this record. This is an extraordinary record, and anybody who once thought that a guitar was just for man, go fuck yourself, really, is what I'm trying to say. Because Heart, not only are they great singers, and just the two-part harmonies alone, what they do is just something that always just caught me, just emotionally, any kind of way that you can think of. But their guitar playing, I mean, they set the tone right off the bat. Their first note of the album, I mean, I can't do it, right? It's just, you get the picture. I mean, Magic Man, you know the song. And once it gets to that keyboard section, you just don't see it coming. Easily, hands down, my favorite song of the whole album. Crazy on You, another known song. It just proves that as hard as it is to play good electric guitar, it's even twice as hard to play extraordinary acoustic guitar. Many people don't know that. That's not just something that you can transform. It's like playing a keyboard as opposed to playing an actual grande piano. So I credit them for that. Listen to the intro of Crazy on You. The whole song is great. Sing Child Sing is probably my second favorite song, because it just reminds me of my mom, really. It just reminds me of all that comfort. That Heart, I don't know why Heart specifically have always just comforted me like that. But when I was just listening to the album, I saw this C, I believe, just made me just lose the world, and it just made me so comfortable. I enjoyed every minute of this album, and really do yourself a favor and check this album out. You won't regret it. You really won't. And it'll just inspire you to pick up a guitar and maybe write a few tunes, so definitely check it out. Green. That's the best way I can describe this album. Not because the album cover is green, if you ignore the masks. I don't know what that was about. But every time I listened to this album, I thought of the color green. I don't know why. But I guess that's kind of a perfect way to explain it, because every time you listen to Sea of Cowards, really every time you listen to the Dead Weather period, you always get a new experience, because there's something new going into your ears every time. There's always something that you didn't hear the first or the second time or even the third time around. You're just always picking up something new. And this album is weird. It definitely is weird. The first time I heard it, I didn't really know how to listen to it. I just kind of went in a free mind. That's the best way I can describe to go into it, because Bad Blood Blues, really hard to say if you have a speech impediment. It kind of confuses you, because you'll think that Jack White is gonna be singing for most of this record, and he does for the most part, but you would never think that he's playing the drums at the same time. And he really tells an incredible, the band really, tells an incredible story, because they're good, they know they're good, and they have no problem just stretching out any type of song and just making it just a journey, really. Gasoline is one of my favorite songs. This album could be sexy at times, really, because it has a groove to it. Bad Blood Blues has that groove. The Distance Between Us, I don't know what that is in the intro. I really hope it's a keyboard. It probably is, but it just sounds cool. This album is just, it's just fucking cool. Just put your sunglasses on, smoke a cigarette or whatever you're into, and just chill to this record. I mean, it doesn't have any rules, any complications, and I think that's what makes it so great. A legend in the making, really, when it comes to Adele in my eyes. This album damn near changed my life because it was really the first pop record that I decided to listen to, and it really doesn't sound pop. It really sounds like, something you would hear in a coffee house, just something that you can relax to. Some songs are upbeat. Rumor has it has a very upbeat, almost tribal-like feel with the percussions and all. Rolling in the Deep, the intro, definitely a well-known song. Always great to hear the acoustic start off. And Adele just comes in. She brings so much energy, and it's odd that someone can bring so much energy and not have a kind of like, I guess, mean attitude towards it, or just like, I'm here to take your shit. But what Adele does is just, she knows she's good, but she can just present it in a way that's just very classy. And not to say that the other way is totally bad, but Adele just has that down, and I really like that about her. He Won't Go, God, this album, I talked about the groove with this album. That intro just sets it up, and then that piano, ooh, God, you gotta hear that part. Just everything works well together. Great singer, but she might even be an even better piano player or pianist. But God, there's just so much stuff to talk about this album. It's hard to condense it. I'm trying to think of one song. Turning Tables. God, Turning Tables, that pre-chorus gets me every time. The first time I heard that pre-chorus, when she hits that note, you know what note I'm talking about. I cried. Yeah, I shed a tear. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's a beautiful song, and this record is beautiful. She's beautiful. Everything, the one word I had to describe 21, beautiful, and we'll probably just leave it at that. So if you haven't heard the entire thing, go check it out. You won't regret it. Oh, mama, don't do this to me. Well, I didn't really have anything much in my mind whenever I was going into this one, except, man, I'm gonna hear some great music, and I was wrong. I heard some damn great music, and it just, I'm speechless, really. I got them old Cosmic Blues again. I expected to hear a lot of her well-known song. It's like Move Over. I expected to hear that on there, but apparently it's on Pearl, and I can't wait to hear that one. But this is about I got them old Cosmic Blues again, mama. And blue is definitely the greatest way to describe this album, because it has blues, it has souls, it has rock and roll. Janis Joplin, she pioneered being not just a perfect front woman, but just describing what you feel inside, just about whatever. When a man hurts you, As Good As You've Been to This World, that's a 5-minute 30-something second song, and it is one of the most challenging things I've ever heard. I'm trying to pick this apart, and it's kind of like an instrumental almost halfway through the song, and then Janis comes in. That bass line is smooth, but as good as everything is, Janis Joplin singing or screeching in some points is something to die for. But you know what else is good? The freaking organs, man, that is great work. Try, you have some gang vocals there, some gang harmonies. It just sounds good. This album just sounds good. I mean, I've heard some people say they don't like Janis Joplin. They just straight up don't like her. And you can add some politics in there or how she acted personally. But when you listen to this, when I was listening to this a couple times through, I was just thinking, don't like it, you can't like it. I want to see what they're seeing, but I can't. I just can't, and I don't think you will either. So anybody who's a fan of classic rock and roll, or anybody who's a fan of Janis, definitely has to put this in their collection. Just go listen to it. It's fucking incredible. What the hell did I just listen to? Like, for real, I don't know how to describe this. I'm so confused, but in the best way. Saint Vincent, the album, changed my outlook on music, because I honestly thought that the only way you can make it in this world is if you have an instrument that has 6 strings and you have a microphone right in front of you. I really don't think that, but that seems to be the most common way to make it in the business, and Saint Vincent really told me to fuck off with that kind of theorem, because this music it sounds like a bunch of Nintendo music. It sounds 8-bitish, if you will. But I feel like that would be insulting it, because 8-bit does not have the kind of variety and just the way that Saint Vincent can tell a story. Rattlesnake is a perfect way to open up this record, because it starts off that boom 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 boom, and that just already you're thinking what? But whenever she starts to come in, one of my friends, Alex, I can perfectly understand why she loves her so much, just because that she has her own personality that's all her own. And I don't know if she writes this music or not. I don't know how you would write this music, but whoever did do the composing really knew what they were doing, as opposed to just creating something that was brand new. This album, it feels brand new to me. It feels like it's just right out of the box, even though I didn't buy it. Anyway, Birth in Reverse, catchy song on the title, but really, it's one of the more upbeat songs, and not to say that this album isn't upbeat, which it is. It can be at times, but once Prince Johnny kicks in and just has that slow Prince Johnny, and it just that chorus, whenever she reaches into her falsetto or the higher registered part, really just gives me chills, because I just want to hear it over and over and over again. And that's really a good sign that you're a good musician, whenever you just want to hear a certain part or a certain album just over and over and over again. Huey Newton, I'm not gonna say much about that song, but just when it drops in, it just listen to it. Saint Vincent, what I gotta say, brand new, not the band, but it just feels like something that I needed to hear, and I'm very glad that I heard it. So thank you, Alex, for putting that in your top 5 albums so I could hear this. And hopefully I expect to hear more from her in the very near future. If your tea does not give you diabetes by the time you're done with it, you probably didn't make it right. Before we get into our top 3, here are my honorable mentions. Oh, girl, you so bad. Like, The Diary of Alicia Keys was something that I heard in my childhood without even knowing it. My sisters were very big into her whenever this album came out. And so now, whenever I listen to this, I got a full experience, and man, is it good. There's just no other way to describe it. It's just good songwriting, good performing. You might get a little confused off the bat because it just has a very classical feel. I would never have expected in a million years that Alicia Keys was so versatile in the art of playing piano. And not only that, I watched her storytellers, and she was talking about how she can use one word, baby, to just like use it in these completely different ways. And me personally, I hate it when someone just use like a word to make an excuse up for a lyric, like yeah. Don't tell me how many times I hear yeah, but she really changed my out view on that, because Singing is an instrument, just like anybody, just like a guitar, just like a bass. It's an instrument, so you can really do whatever you want with it, and as long as you create a sound that people can get hooked onto, it really shouldn't matter all that much what you're saying. But You Don't Know My Name comes into that, and I kind of adapted the bridge into one of my songs, just how she was talking and whatnot, and that was just a off the fly idea that she just put it in there, see how it sounds. Heartburn, this reminds me that this album has both sides to it, has two sides to it, and one is upbeat just like Heartburn is, and it just she has a certain swagger, Alicia Keys does, whenever it comes to songwriting and performing on this record. She knows she's good. Who's gonna tell her not? Who's gonna tell her that she's not good? Watch her live. I believe she performed at the Grammys a while back, and when I watched that, man, I was floored. And after I finished this record, I was floored too. Samsonite, man, I almost forgot about that one. That's one of my favorite ones. She's so good at punching that hook where it needs to be, and that's what will keep you coming back more and more. And really, I think that's just a perfect resemblance of her character, because she's so sweet, she's so kind and caring. But don't fuck with her. You don't need to do that now, because she'll tide your ass, and she won't think twice about it. So, The Diary of Alicia Keys, a wonderful album, and I would just advise that you listen to it, light some candles, just put it on, close your eyes, and just get lost into it, because she really speaks to you, and that's rare these days, that just have someone, hey, this is me, I'm gonna tell you like it is, and odds are you're gonna like it, and I did, and I'm pretty sure you will too. I really wanted to make this number one, but I felt like I'd be lying to myself if I did. So just have to settle for number two. And it kind of breaks my heart, because Regina Spektor is as talented as she is beautiful, and she's a very beautiful woman. God, what gets me the most about her music is how she's able to connect with me in the most bizarre ways imaginable. Just how she pronounces certain words, or what she adds into her songs, just shows you that she's having fun doing what she does. And that's really all I want to do, is just be able to make music and be at a point where I can just have fun with it and still make a living off of it. Fuck the fame, fuck the glory. It's nice to have it, but if I can just be like Regina Spektor, I'm set for life. That's fine with me, but I'm nowhere near talented, beautiful, or known, so still got some catching up to do. I digress though. This is a great album. What we saw from the Cheap Seats is fabulous in every sense of the word. Is it better than Begin to Hope? I don't know that for sure, but it is definitely one of the better albums that I've heard in my life, and that says a lot about Begin to Hope too. This album, my favorite song is probably I can't pick one really, because it's all, you have to listen to it all in one fell swoop to get the idea. This is one song called Open, and that will get you by surprise, because she has this deep breaths effects where, well, not really effects, she just breathes, inhales heavily, and I was kind of turned off by that at first, but then I just kept on listening, and it kind of grew on me, and I was just like waiting for it. I lied to myself. I was like, I'm not doing it for the song, I'm just breathing. I lied. Really, she's one of my favorite artists, and I respect her so much, because I avoid watching her live, because I just didn't want to ruin what I had already experienced with Begin to Hope. But then I started watching her live, and oh god, once I saw her live, I was like, she has to be number one, she just has to be. But it's not she didn't perform live on the album in this top 10 album, that top 10 people of all time. So it breaks my heart. It really does to have her at number 2. But hey, heart wants what the heart wants. And my heart thoroughly enjoyed this album, and I'd recommend this to pretty much anybody that's into soft music, soft piano music, but also would lighten up with it, and just kind of, because Marcello, I can't really say it with the accent like she does. At first it sounds like, oh god, we're gonna go into something dark and something very unpleasant, but then that chorus kicks in, and then you're just kind of like sitting there like, what? Well, I don't get that, but I like that the most, is that she's able to be sad, happy, sad, happy. This album's very bipolar in that sense, but just do yourself a treat and go check out this album. Just go check out Regina Spektor. Now, I sound like a complete fanboy right now, but hey, call me what you want, I don't care. I really don't. That album, that woman, just great. Go check it out. You won't regret it. Yeah, this is number 1. The first time that I ever heard it, it snowed like twice in a week in Texas, and that's just unheard of. But I was laying in my bed, I was smoking, and then I just put it on, and I was just, oh wow, was I can't find the word for it. Tranced, I guess? I don't know, but just something happened to me once I put on that record that has never happened to me before. I've always heard about people talking about Lana Del Rey, good and bad. I'll get to that. And so I kind of went into that with a neutral mentality, almost a negative mentality. I was just going in there, I was just like, this ain't gonna be too good. I mean, what's this chick? Come on now. Who does she think she is? And apparently she thinks she's hot shit, because this album is damn fine. It is mighty fine, obviously by its ranking. Let's start off with Born to Die. It starts off with strings are heavily involved in this record, I'll just say that right now. And it kind of gives you a whimsical expectation. You're just like, oh my god, this is gonna be so happy and cheery, and I'm just gonna have fun. And then it drops, and you're just like, okay. I don't know why I thought it'd be happy, considering the title is Born to Die. But you know what makes me happy? Off to the Races, the second track. Literally, there was a point in my life, well, the point in this month, where that's the only song I would listen to. I just love it so much. Every little thing about it. Whenever she almost gets like screeching territory, just really high. Whenever she says Starlet and Scarlet, just that little squeak right there. Just, I don't know, it boils my heart every single time. And if I do have to point out a flaw in this album, which is what I don't do rarely, it's just that there's a lot of songs about love, and I'm just starting to think, either she really felt some strong feelings for this guy, or she's been with a lot of men that's fucked her over. Hopefully neither are true. But Summertime Sadness, from what I've heard, is about her best friend committing suicide in the summer. I could be wrong, so correct me if I am. So it kind of offers a little variety. Carmen's a great song. I'm assuming that has to do with prostitution, from what I gathered. That's the fun thing about music, is that every time you listen to it, it always is different for the listener, and you can take it however way you want it. At least that's how I would describe things. Million Dollar Man. With this album, I should have seen that song coming a mile away, because what I've heard people describe Lana Del Rey as well as Born to Die, is that she brings a very vintage feel to it, and I'm a sucker for it. Really, if I was born in the Rat Pack era, or any Fallout fans, my favorite DLC was Dead Money, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know how I got from from Lana Del Rey to Fallout, but that's the best way I can describe it. I can't say enough good things about this record. And so I started looking up her live, and there's a lot of detractors when it comes to her. I saw that SNL performance. I didn't think it was that bad. I just think she had a bad night. In a world where perfection is glamorized, once someone makes one little mistake, they're just fucking thrashed for it. That's bullshit, by the way. But you know, it is what it is. You can't really do nothing about it. Start a revolution. Yeah, whatever. But I noticed that she'll mess up quite a bit, and you can go two ways with that. One, that's just her style. You know, she'll just flub some words, but just make it up later, or she just has a very lax attitude, and she just kind of goes with it, and it doesn't really bother her as much as it would other people. Or you can say that she's not a good performer and she's very lazy, she doesn't really take the songs seriously. I'm not really either of those. I kind of have both of those in there, but either way, that's weird. Whenever I'm thinking about it, is how people can say so many negative things, yet I like it so much. Usually when a bunch of people don't really like it, I tend to go with the latter, but not in this case. Born to Die, to me, easily was the #1 album of March, and I am so excited to hear her another album, Ultraviolet. So you'll probably be seeing that in the top 10, or maybe it'll be the most terrible fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. So I'm not really the most optimistic person in the world. That's why my #1 album is Born to Die. I hope you enjoyed that. That was my first ever top 10 in a video format, and expect more. You know, you can kind of expect how many more I'm gonna do this year. Just count. I had a lot of fun with these albums. I've had a lot of fun making this. This took a very, very long time to do, and with the editing and whatnot. So thank you for watching, and thank you for staying with me for this long, and hopefully this will be, you know, so big in the future, or maybe it'll just have 5 more and it'll be done. But whatever happens, I'm gonna have the most fucking fun with it, and I will see you guys next month. So once again, thank you for joining me in my top 10 albums of March. I'll see you next month.